ったんだ
Hey guys, it's Charles again. Thanks for tuning in to our how-to series for real estate investing in Toronto. Last week, we began off our strategy session by speaking about the function of time and money. Oftentimes, as a novice investor, you really don't have a clear picture of what it's like to successfully pull off a certain strategy. So before we begin into each specific strategy, I ask the question, do you have the time? And do you have the money, right? And we have briefly spoke about there's a difference between a professional investor and an investor who has a full-time job is really just a retail investor. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Okay, so this week we are going to dive a little bit deeper into each strategy by talking about single-family rentals. Okay, so we're going to talk about what single-family rentals are, what are the pros, what are the cons, and I'm going to give you my conclusion on it. Okay, so single-family rentals are basically starter home with 3 to 4 bedrooms or 2 washrooms. We're not talking about luxury homes, $1 million and up. We're talking about a good starter home, $500,000-$600,000 home in a good location. Okay, this is not a luxury home, and it needs to have be in a very good location with strong fundamentals. So this is the key, right? With single family home, you are in it for the long term. So if you choose the right type of home in the right location, it's gonna do very well for you long term. But if you choose the wrong home in the wrong location, it may quickly turn your investment journey very, very sour quick. Okay, for single family home, usually the tenants are a young couple or a professional couple or a family. For that reason, your tenant profile is very good. The pros, it's easy to manage. You have one family, you have one home, one unit. And we spoke a little bit about tenant profile. It's generally much better tenant profile than a multi-families, right? And there's more chance of rent being paid. So what I mean by that is a lot of times for multis, the tenant profile is usually a single person. So if that single person loses the job, most likely that you will be in trouble. However, for a family, if a husband loses a job, maybe the wife still works, or maybe they have kids. So yeah, the chances are, even if it's one of the spouse loses a job, the other spouse will be able to continue sustain the rent, and they will try their best to have the family not be evicted, so they will try to work with you, right? And also because it's family or young professionals, the turnover is very slow instead of a single person. So you'll be expected to rent to one tenant for at least 2-3 years before you will have to find another tenant. So that means the downtime is low, and rents will continue to come in most likely, right? And another pro is that it has strong resistance towards economic fluctuations. What I mean by that is, in good times or in bad times, we always need a shelter, especially in the starter home category. So for that reason, single family home will always be in demand, right? And less downtime with no money coming in. That's because you'll have a lot of demand for renters, and your tenant profile is going to be great. Also appreciation. So historically, single family homes have appreciated much more than multi-family homes. It's usually the value of the single-family homes is determined by supply and demand. So here in Southern Ontario, there's much more demand than supply of these types of properties. The multis are based on their condition and the rents being collected. Right? That's how they derive their value. So that means the value of the multi-family home typically rises when the rents go up for that building or in that area, and they don't follow the trends of appreciation that single-family home do in the same area, right? So for that reason, supply and demand, single-family home tends to appreciate a lot more than multis. Also, last but not least, it's very easy to exit. So when you're finished with your investment terms and you're ready to liquidate, this type of home usually is a much easier sell because you can sell to an investor who are looking for a long-term hold or a family looking to live in it themselves. Right. So these are the pros. The cons are that these type of strategy, it has little to almost non-cash flow at the beginning. Because if you're buying at the good area, most likely you are fighting with other buyers who are looking to actually live there. So for that reason, the prices are going to go up, right? And a lot of times these homes, the seller used to be living in the home, so they associate feeling with the sale price. They think their house is worth way more than what we like to buy as an investor. So for that reason, it's difficult to get below market value. Another con is that it takes time to pull out your initial capital, especially if the home doesn't require much renovation and it's almost turnkey. That down payment you put in, it will take a while for the market to appreciate and the tenant to pay down the mortgage, so you have enough margin to refinance to get your capital out. Okay, so conclusion, single family homes are stable, long-term tenant, less costly repairs, stronger appreciation over time that requires less management, right? So it's a perfect strategy if you are starting out in investment. If you want less management, or you don't need to hire a property manager for single family homes, in my opinion. Just manage it yourself. Learn to get to know your tenant, learn how it's like to be a landlord, right? And you will appreciate over time if you bought the right type of home in the right area, right? I think it was Warren Buffett that said it, the boring will make you rich, right? That's exactly what this is. It's get rich slow, and you don't need to put a lot of effort, and over time it will appreciate very, very well. Okay, so that's it for single family rentals. If you like this kind of content, please download your free copy of a deal analysis sheet that the link is below, and if you can subscribe, that'd be great. Thank you very much.